our culture, if we feel like we're done something bad, we need to say sorry to our mom. But if you're married, heaven also under husband feet.
That's a very interesting thing, to be fair. Interesting. So if my woman does me wrong, and she knows she's done something bad, because heaven is underneath my feet as a husband, she's then going to be apologetic and kiss my feet? I mean, if anyone who's got a foot fetish, boy, that's a dream. You know what I'm saying? That's a dream. But okay, that's interesting, man, because obviously it's always good to learn something new. You know, it is called the learning channel, isn't it, for a reason? You know what I'm saying? But let's continue, though. I just found that quite interesting. But hey, let me know your thoughts on that, though. How would you feel, you know, if you're the wife or the daughter, you know what I mean? You do wrong to your mother or you do wrong to your husband, and, you know, and because heaven's underneath their feet or XYZ, how would you feel with the concept that you have to obviously kiss their feet? I want to know what you'll think about that, you know what I mean? I think obviously as a man, I guess is nothing more than a benefit for us, you know what I mean? And as well it is for a mother too. But if you're obviously the daughter or the wife, you know, let me know. Interesting thing that they do in their culture, yeah. I'm assuming it's not an Indonesian thing, it's just something that's a part of her culture in Indonesia, I would assume, because we didn't have this with the other one. I forgot her name, but let's continue.
That's why I do own James apologize. The best wife. But I will try my best.
You're perfect to me.
I'm not gonna lie to you. If you tell me that you haven't been the best wife, first and foremost, I'm gonna tell you to humble yourself. It's not that deep. Calm down, okay? You wouldn't be my wife if you wasn't the best person for me. You know what I mean? First and foremost. But for her to say I'm now gonna try my best moving forward, when I heard her say that, I was thinking to myself, are you really though? Are you really though? But let's get into it.
Nanti punya anak sehat.
I just got to emphasize the part where the father talks about, so later you have healthy children. Now, it's interesting because right now they have told the parents regarding the fact that they are planning to stay in Indonesia, but also told the parents about the debt, you know, and also they now need to figure out how they're going to make that money, because James does not want to take money from the family. He wants to make the money on his own, but he wants to find out how he can do that, obviously living in Indonesia. But at the same time, though, they still have not told the parents, well, at least James hasn't told the parents that he does not want to have kids. You know what I mean? Meitalia, on the other hand, she obviously wants kids because she wants to obviously satisfy the parents, which I don't really believe is a good enough reason to have kids. I hate it when people have kids because of peer pressure from family or peer pressure from their partner or peer pressure from just anywhere. Really and truly, people should have kids because they want to have kids. I don't know if Meitalia actually wants to have kids, but either way though, James needs to cough up this conversation and say, hey, by the way, I also don't want kids. But boy, I reckon that's something that they're leaving for a few more episodes down the line. You know what I'm saying? I reckon they're going to bring something more near the tell-all area. That's what I think.
No,
I told you I was going to follow you.
I started the conversation. I told them to translate double language in my brain. What I did and what I said. And it just made me sad that he's not apologizing about the way he treated me.
So despite the fact that she feels as if she hasn't been the best wife, and despite the fact that she said that she's going to try and do better, fast forward a few scenes later on, what happened? They're both back arguing again. Okay, both back arguing again. And, you know, it's not kind, it's not nice that the fact that she always has to raise her voice. She always has to bring her emotions into the conversation, and she cannot conduct herself in a way that is just appropriate. You know what I mean? Everything generally always has to be over the top with her, which is just never needed, you know. But I will say this though, how James handles this conversation, I loved it. Let's get into that.
Then he still not get it. I really just hurt. Single word, I translated to you. You pushing me for...
I didn't push you.
You did.
I feel that way, but I wasn't trying to push you.
Thank you.
I told you exactly what we discussed earlier. You need to...
I'm not gonna lie to you, the way she be looking at my man is madness. The way she be looking at... Whoa, calm down, girl, calm down. Now listen, I get it, okay? She's upset with the fact that when they were having a conversation at the table, James was consistently saying to her, say this, or he was saying to her, listen, you tell them, you speak to them. Obviously for him, he's thinking, well, we've had a conversation and I told you that you was going to lead in this conversation. Well, one, because it's your parents, and two, because I can't speak the language, which does make a lot of logical sense, you see what I'm saying? But of course, she couldn't handle that responsibility, which is obviously why they got to a point where now she feels as if he was pushing her and he's not really seeing it. But I therefore do understand to a certain degree why she's upset with the fact that he hasn't acknowledged that maybe he was actually putting more pressure on her than she wanted. So therefore, is an apology needed? I would say for the respect of their relationship, yeah, 100%. 100%. But at the same time, though, the way they're having this conversation isn't healthy. If this conversation was being having a different way where maybe he could understand what she's trying to say without her screaming and shouting, maybe, you know, their problems will be solved. But let's continue.
Did that.
All right, conversation's over. Once you start swearing, I won't talk to you
Yeah,
anymore.
I'm done with it.
See, I love that. Once she swore he was, that's it, conversation's over. I'm not going to speak to you when you're like this. And listen, I'm a big believer in this, you know, but for me, myself in particular, if I'm having a conversation with anyone that I'm with, right, 100%, if it gets to a point where now voices are being elevated or gets to a point where swearing is now a thing, I am humbling that conversation real quick. I'm like, whoa, stop. If this is how you're gonna speak, we're having this conversation. We can come back later on when everything's calmed down. You see what I'm saying? Because I'm definitely not here for the conflict. You see what I'm saying? I like that because that keeps a healthy tone in their relationship. You know what I mean? And also it creates a respect boundary. You know what I mean? Where she's able to understand that if she goes too far, she can always respect the fact that her man is always going to take charge and say, hey, babe, this is not the time. So I love that. I absolutely love that. I've never seen anyone else do that but me personally. So I like to see it.
Say another country is a good idea. If you think abandoning your husband in another country is a good idea, talked about this already. If it's going to affect our marriage, then it's not worth it.
Now, this is regard her saying that she wants to stay with her parents tonight rather than stay obviously with him at this hotel. And that's obviously why he says he thinks it's a good idea to abandon your husband in another country. I mean, listen, to be honest with you, generally speaking, I personally wouldn't necessarily say it that way. I would say that, listen, babe, I know we've obviously had a falling out, but there's no need for us to be in separate rooms or separate homes. You know what I mean? Come on now. Let's just find a way to, you know, to cool down and do what we can to enjoy the rest of the night. And then we can maybe continue this conversation either later on today or maybe tomorrow. You know what I mean? Actually, it's a conversation that they definitely have to complete or finish. It's just a matter of when. Do you see what I'm saying? But yeah, but listen, but I get it though. For some people, it's healthier for one of them to stay elsewhere. For some people, they need that fresh air. But I don't believe that this conversation is that deep for them to need to have fresh air in that kind of capacity. It has to be something far deeper, in my opinion. But at the same time, though, everybody's different. Some conversations for some people are deeper in their relationship than they are for other people in their relationship. It all comes down to your type of relationship. Do you see what I'm saying? But hey, we continue.
This is mine and her relationship, is the love we have for each other, growing it, fostering it, becoming.
That's never how I want any conversation to go.
I'm sorry.
I mean, listen, at the end of the day, I like the fact that, you know, he's always trying to do what he can to make sure that this relationship continues to go on the right path rather than stay on the wrong path. You know what I mean?
Pushed, and I'll do better. I will.
To move back to the United States. I don't want to move back to state.
So here's the thing. James speaks about how if moving to Indonesia is something that's going to make their relationship worse, well, then he'd rather move back to the States. And obviously, as you can see there, Meitalia's like, well, no, I don't want to move back to the States. I want to stay here now. That's it. Boom, bam. You know what I mean? So, I mean, listen, it's not even early in the season. It's like episode 8 now, but we're kind of like midway in the season now. So I guess we're going to wait and find out to see obviously how their story obviously, you know, changes throughout the next couple of episodes. But again, though, everything that they're talking about right now and they're having disputes about is literally not that bad, given the fact that they still need to address the whole baby situation. Once they address that, that's going to be very, very interesting to see how the parents receive that information. But nonetheless, though, let me know your thoughts on the matter. Actually, but I will say this though: despite that, obviously she does not want to leave him because of the baby situation. She still wants to be with him regardless. So I feel like that's something that should matter more than what her parents think. You know what I mean? It'd be different if not having a baby was a deal breaker for her. But nonetheless, though, let me know what you're thinking down below and we can talk about it. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and of course, peace.